How's it going, my fellow shiny Pokemon? Shiny Snorlax here, bringing you guys Pokemon Showdown OU Beta battle, and link, and of course, team preview will be down in the description below. The only difference is that my Tyranitar has Brick Break instead of Super Power. But other than that, let's get started. I lay off my Ice Ash, opponent leads off with their Cloyster, and goes for a Shell Smash. I go for Iron Head, predicting the Shell Smash, and then I go for Shadow Sink, but apparently it does not take it out. Opponent goes for an Icicle Spear, and takes me down to 1%, as you can see right now. And opponent switches out into his Absol, predicting my Shadow Sneak, and I go for a King Shield, predicting a physical attack, and get that attack lowered. Opponent goes for another Sucker Punch, as I go for a Swords Dance, and I go for another King Shield, predicting an attack, and I was right. Opponent goes for a Night Slash. Opponent goes for another Night Slash and gets a critical hit. I think it mattered. I bring out my Skarmory. Opponent switches out into its Ninetales, and I set up my Stealth Rocks, and opponent goes for a Fire Blast on my Skarmory, but gets the burn. I go for a Whirlwind and switch out into the opponent's Fail Thorn, and my Skarmory goes down from the burn. I bring out my Noivern, and I go for an Air Slash just in case he switches down something. Opponent sets up his Stealth Rocks, and I go for another Air Slash. Opponent goes for a Gyro Ball, and I go for another Air Slash, but I miss. Opponent sets up one Leech Seed on my Noivern, but it doesn't matter that much because I go for an Air Slash. Opponent brings out its Garchomp, and opponent goes for an Outrage, and my Noivern goes down. I bring out my Blissey, knowing I can take almost any hit. As the opponent goes for an Outrage, and I do survive the hit, I go for an Ice Beam on the Garchomp, and almost take it out. The opponent hits itself in Confusion, which I don't really count as that much as hacks. I go for an Ice Beam, take out the Garchomp, and opponent brings out its Shuckle. I go for a Thunder Wave on the Shuckle, just to get that nice paralysis. And I go for a Seismic Toss, bringing it down to about half health. Opponent goes for a Toxic on my Blissey, and I switch out into my Gengar, and opponent goes for a Swagger. I switch out right into my Blissey again, and opponent goes for a Bide, and right now I go for a Soft Boiled, and opponent goes for a Bide but fails. I go for another Soft Boiled just to heal up myself completely. I go for a Seismic Toss. Opponent goes for a Swagger. I basically just leave Blissey out there to die. Blissey hits itself in Confusion. Opponent goes for a Rest and heals itself up. I pursue the Confusion. I go for a Seismic Toss, getting some good damage on, and my Confusion ends, and I go for another Seismic Toss on the Shuckle, almost taking it out. And opponent switches out into its Absol, and I go for a Seismic Toss and get a good amount of damage. Opponent goes for a Night Slash, gets a critical hit, bringing me down to about half, but I go for a Seismic Toss and take out the Absol. Opponent brings out its Ninetales and brings out some drop. Opponent goes for a Soul Beam, gets a critical hit, but barely does anything. I go for a Thunder Wave just so I could outspeed it. And I go for a nice Soft Boiled. Opponent goes for a Nasty Plot, and I go for a Seismic Toss, just getting some good damage. Opponent goes for a Fire Blast, bringing me down to about half, and gets the burn again. I go for another Seismic Toss, just getting some good chip damage. Opponent goes for another Fire Blast and takes out my Blissey. I bring out my Gengar and take out the Ninetales with a Shadow Ball, and opponent brings out his Shuckle and almost gets taken out with Stealth Rocks, but I take it out with the Shadow Ball. And opponent basically time stalled and forfeited. And I see a reason why, because Cloyster could have died from Stealth Rocks. But other than that, like, comment, and subscribe to become a shiny Pokemon, and I'll see you next time.